We got to hurry.
Our plan for dealing with her is called Operation Let Her Speak.
Operation Let Her Speak. Same with Jasmine Crockett. Let them speak. They can have a microphone anytime they want. Anyway, here with reaction, Fox News contributor Miranda Devine, Project 21 chairman Horace Cooper. Miranda, you got to admit, Senator Kennedy has some of the best lines ever.
He really does, and he comes across as this sort of aw shucks persona with his lovely southern accent. But he's actually, you know, incredibly smart and wily. Every word is a bullet. And, you know, he has a degree from Oxford and multiple other degrees. And he's absolutely right about AOC and Jasmine Crockett and their ilk. Let them speak. I mean, they are just so desperate right now. And I think the profanity that you're hearing from Jasmine Crockett and others in the Democratic Party is because they have nothing else. Profanity is the last resort of the inarticulate and the desperate. They're desperate, particularly now because they see that Donald Trump has pulled off the great tariff gambit. There's nothing they can do about it. They've thrown their party away for the hatred of one man. They have no policies, they have no vision, and now they really have no voters.
Yeah, you know, Horace, I look at Crockett, and right, let him speak. I look at Crockett, I look at AOC, I watch the tour. It's Bernie handing the mantle to AOC, and Jasmine Crockett is going to compete for that mantle, it looks like, or at least she's going to try. I watched the protesters all over the country this weekend, and they're singing and they're chanting, and they sound more unhinged than they did during the election season. That's not going to invite one person to over to their side. They're not convincing anybody of anything. And the more they speak, I think the better off conservatism in America is, the safer it will be. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
Well, like I've said often, when I was a kid, if you were a leftist or a Democrat, you lied and told the American people what they wanted to hear, that you were part of the middle class, you were part of the mainstream. We now are seeing people who show up and they don't lie anymore to you. They just say the craziest things that you've ever heard. Now, I watched Ms. Crockett at church this past weekend, and it looked like what I call the Marxist minstrel show. They say crazy things that only leftist radicals could come up with, and they do so in a way that mocks and belittles the people that they're acting like they're pretending to be ignorant black people. Now, AOC, well, she apparently is all loco and no meds. I mean, the two of them together are where the party appears to be going, but it's not a good place.
It really is not a good place. Miranda, I'm looking at a party that's deteriorating before our eyes. And instead of, you know, you would think they'd make a course correction. They didn't make a course correction. They're doubling down on men's rights to play women's sports, on Tren de Aragua gang members. They're fighting and championing their right to come back to this country over the safety of Americans. They think it's a constitutional crisis if you find hundreds of billions in waste, fraud, and abuse. And they don't know how to negotiate, do they?
No, and they keep on returning to the same dry old well, which was, you know, violent protesters that they gather up and whip into a frenzy, like in the summer of 2020 over some made-up nonsense, inciting violence, you know, threatening more assassination attempts, I hate to say it, but against both Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who's their second least favourite person. You know, no wonder George Conway was blubbering on television earlier, because they know, the smarter ones among them know that they have nothing, that the party has gone down a dead end and a dry gully. And unless it has radical surgery, a new, I don't know, a new way of being moderate, if they get rid of these crazies that have attached themselves to the party, that Nancy Pelosi allowed to attach themselves to the party and did nothing about for all these years. And unless they get people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC under control and not thinking that they really are the future of the party, I think you know, I don't know, they just descend into irrelevance, and that's bad for all of us, I have to say.
Yeah, we appreciate both of you. Miranda Devine, thank you. Horace Cooper, thank you.